You ask me personally, do we know how to do surgery? No. Then what does he mean by I working through him? It is the same divine supreme consciousness which is working through him, is what he's saying. That is Karma Yogi. Look at this. I just summarized the first 3 chapters. Now I'm getting into the 4th chapter. The beauty of the 4th chapter is that till now we learnt Karma Yoga. And remember the question Arjuna asked in the beginning, Jnana is better or Karma is better? Don't confuse me between the two. You say become a Sthita Prajna, and then you say go and fight the war. Which one should I do? Then Krishna says, do both. Do both. Makes it further complicated. This is the 4th chapter. Jnana, Karma, Sanyasa Yoga. Karma Yoga, understood. Karma, Sanyasa Yoga, okay, you can understand. Detach yourself from the action. Jnana, detach yourself with the knowledge of why you are detaching. The knowledge is important. With knowledge you perform, not blindly. There's a story, one person performs Satyanarayana Puja in the home. There are rats, they come and eat up the prasadam kept there. So to serve this menace of rats, he gets a cat. Now the cat is all over the place. So to keep the rats in control and keep the cat also under control, he gets a basket and puts the basket over the cat upside down, and then puts a stone on the basket so the cat does not topple it off and go away. And it's kept in one corner of the puja room. So now, when next time Satyanarayana Puja is being performed somewhere far away, a list comes from the pujari. Photo of Satyanarayana Devata, these many bananas, these many apples, this much of ghee, that many leaves, these many flowers, and one cat, one basket, and one stone. Why? Nobody knows. If you ask the pujari why, Shastra say like that, keep quiet. They'll shut you up, you'll say, okay, fine. That's why this new generation doesn't believe in our rituals, because whenever they ask a question, our elders tell, shut up and just do what is being said. Don't question. So then they don't like it, they rebel. Why should I do? You don't answer them, then they run away. You have to answer. They have to explain, no, it is not necessary now. Once upon a time, there were rats in one puja, so the cat was brought, then cat was running around, so a basket was brought, and basket was moving, so a stone was brought. But that is not a part of the puja list, but it became, unfortunately. See, Karma Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, but without a Jnana, it's a waste. It's a wrong way of doing things. So now Krishna is elevating the concept of Karma Yoga, saying, do action with detachment, no desire for results, but do it with the knowledge. And what is this knowledge Krishna is talking about? Very, very subtle. He says, who is the doer in the first place? Ask yourself, are you eating? Are you breathing? Are you walking? Yes, I do everything. You say, but when you are asleep, be fast asleep, like in your science and maths class. Who is breathing? Who is digesting your breakfast which you had, which led you to this wonderful, blissful sleep? Who did that? Who is doing that? Who is breathing through you? You are not aware till the duster lands on your head. So, who does it all the time? There is something else which does. Na pranena apanena matyo jivati kaschana itarena tu jivanti yasminetau upashritau. That is what our Kathopanishad says. It's not by prana apana, because I breathe in and out, though I am alive. No. You are alive, so you are able to breathe in and out. And the reason for you being alive is beyond just breathing. There is something else that keeps you alive. That is divinity, that divine consciousness. The idea of Jnana Karma Sannyasa is to realize who you are, and based on that you perform your actions. And he says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvaka veva bravita. He says, this knowledge that I am going to tell you now, which helps you to transcend all this doership and enjoyership, that was told first by me to Vivasvata. Vivasvata is the sun god. And Vivasvata told to his son, S-O-N this time, Manu. He's called Vivasvata Manu. In India there is a timeline. You have yugas and mahayugas, then there are manvantras and kalpas and things like that. So in this manvantara, the Manu is called Vivasvata Manu. So that is a discussion for another time. There are how many years in a yuga and things like that. So this particular Manu learned this from the sun god. And then he taught to his descendants of Ikshvaku dynasty, that is the sun dynasty. Very popular. Ikshvaku, Rama is from Ikshvaku dynasty. And this is how this was passed on, he says. Then in the second shloka he says that Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu Sa kale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. This is how as a parampara, para, apara. Para means higher, apara means lower. That Guru Shishya parampara. From a higher person or higher person of higher wisdom, the wisdom flows to the lower person. So this parampara came unbroken for a long, long time. But in the recent times, this has been, kind of disturbed or destroyed, and this knowledge was lost because of this parampara did not continue, he says. See, parampara is so important. When I tell about our institutions, what we are doing, university is here to create teachers. These teachers have been, these students who are becoming teachers are being created by their previous teachers. Now, these teachers should teach the students and create the next generation of teachers. When I was in Tumkur campus and there was an inauguration function, 4 generations of teachers were there. The oldest, the next generation, and the next generation, which is studying now. So I said, this is our parampara, Guru Shishya parampara. And he says, our in Shikshavalli, Guru tells the Shishya, so don't break this lineage of Guru Shishya, this learning and teaching. Don't you give it up. It is very important that we keep up this. See, even Krishna suffered. He taught it, he says, but on the way it got lost. People didn't learn from each other. Why they didn't learn from each other? There was not a good guru nor a fit disciple. That's why when Nachiketa goes to Yama and tells, teach me about that which is beyond death. And the Yama finds all reasons why he should not teach and tests him thoroughly, and then finally says, Satya Dharmaya. You are a Satyadhriti. You are very resolute in learning. I've never seen a disciple like you. I'm so delighted. I'm going to teach. And also Nachiketa tells him that only if somebody like you speaks can I learn. Because this knowledge is so subtle, Yama says. Nobody can learn. Fitting a good guru has to be there and a good disciple has to come together. So looks like you are a long time in the lineage of Ikshvaku or whichever dynasty. There are not many disciples who are fit enough to learn this transcendental knowledge, and therefore this knowledge was lost. And now comes, he says that this is the knowledge I'm going to teach you. And why do I teach you? This is also very beautiful. He says, Sa evayam mayate adya yoga prokta puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hyeta uttamam. He says, I am teaching you this old knowledge because you are my friend as well as a devotee. See, God also doesn't teach just like that to anybody. Who is a friend of God? There are many kinds of bhakti. Navavidha bhaktis are there. Shravanam, Kirtam, Vishnu Smaranam, Vandanam, Artanam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma. Dasyam, last 3 years, Dasyam means servitude, Sakyam means friendship, and Atmanivedanam means surrender. So before the final stage of surrender, when you become divine, the previous stage is friendship. And he tells Krishna, you deserve to know this knowledge because you are not just a devotee, you are also my friend. And we share secrets with our friends, right? This is a very secret knowledge. It should not be told to anybody. Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, or he says, Vedante paramam guhyam purakale prachoditam na shantaya datavyam na putraya ashishyaya vapunaha. This is a very secret knowledge. This should not be just distributed like I do. This is not allowed. You must not tell this to those who don't have peace of mind to learn it, whose minds are disturbed and not steady. Don't teach to somebody whom you don't know, like your own son, or whom you have not accepted as your disciple after thoroughly checking and testing. Don't give it to them, our ancients have said. So we should not give. But here he is giving that knowledge to Arjuna, because Arjuna, you are my friend. It's a secret I want to share with you, like friends share secrets. How sweet is that relationship between Arjuna and Krishna. In fact, some point in time later he tells, Priya Priyaya Sakheva Sakyuha. Like a beloved forgives his loved one, like a friend forgives his friend, like a father forgives his son. Please forgive me for all the nonsense that I took you through. Arjuna tells towards the end, I really understood how loving you are, and I made some silly things, silly mistakes. Please forgive me, like a beloved forgives his beloved, like a friend forgives his friend, like a father forgives his erring son. So here he says, you are my friend, so I share this secret with you, which has been lost for a long time, for want of fitful disciple and guru. So this is how it is. Ashcharya Vakta Kushala Asya Labdha, Kathopanishad says. Speaker should be amazing and the disciple should be deserving. You see, so that is the beauty of this. Both have come together. But Arjuna, the question starts, Krishna, I thought you were born in this Dwaraka and Mathura. And you are saying that you taught this to sun gods. As far as I know, sun god has been there for even now 5 billion years minimum. Sun has been there, solar system has been there. So were you born 5 billion years ago? That's not true. So Arjuna starts. Look at Arjuna's questioning. Only a friend can ask such questions to another friend. So, aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah kathame tadvijaniyam tomado proktavaniti. You were born later. The Vivaswata means the sun god was born earlier. Then how are you saying that you taught that sun god? Because he's still thinking of Krishna as his friend from Gokula, then Mathura, Vrindavan, his cousin. He is not realizing that Krishna is the super consciousness, whatever you call Brahman himself. So Krishna must be smiling in his heart of hearts. But still, he tells him very sweetly, Arjuna, bahuni me gatitani janmani tavalcha Arjuna, tanyam veda sarvani natvam veta parampat. We have spent many lives together. We have born again and again. This is not the first time you and I are meeting here. We have a long relationship. I know all of them. You don't know. Then one may ask question. Oh, so was Krishna born earlier as Rama? Is that what he meant by born again? But in Rama was born after the sun god came. You don't get into this kind of questioning. What Krishna means is, I taught that Vivasvata the first as the Brahman himself. How did our yogis learn all these things? Were they having teachers? By simply absorbing their minds into the super mind of the God, they learnt everything. We had that communication, no? Para, Pashyati, that para communication. When you sit down, meditate, it reveals itself to you. Even Kathopanishad says, it reveals itself. You don't have to ask for it. It doesn't come telling you. It just reveals to the deserving person. So those yogis to the sun god. And sun god is such a good example. He's the best example of karma yoga. Can you think of anybody a better karma yogi than the god, sun god? Every day he rises, burns himself out for the sake of welfare of others. He gains nothing out of it. He knows if he is there, the solar system is there. The planets will go around, driven by whatever the forces that govern them. If sun disappears, it burns out or moves even a little from its position, everything will be a chaos in the solar system and the galaxy. So he has to keep doing what he has got to do. Not for a moment he can stop working. We might go to sleep in the night, but sun is still burning on the other side. That is karma yoga. So he says, I taught this karma yoga. I'm sure he has taught. Otherwise, sun god could not have been such a good karma yogi. He must have learned from Krishna. And the karma yoga is going on even today. As we sit and talk, sun is burning somewhere himself out for the sake of betterment of the world, for the sake of the protection of others. What an example. I always give the example of sun god. So that is the idea. So he says that we have been living before also. It is not the first time. I know all of it. You may not be knowing, that is your problem. But I teach you as a friend. Such a sweet relationship. Then he says, very important. Here is one he starts revealing who he truly is. He says, Ajopi sanna vyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Though I am unborn, though I am indestructible, though I am the Lord of everything, everyone, yet I manifest myself through Maya Shakti in a form and a name in a certain place. So first time he is revealing to Arjuna, I am not just Krishna whom you know as your cousin. I am the same divine supreme Brahman who has used the Maya Shakti, the creative power, to manifest as this Krishna in front of you. But I have been here forever. I am never born. I never die. I am always divine. I may look like undivine at some times, but I am always divine. Maya makes you think like that. Teliyaga tarma narula kanugana vasama param tapo nidulakaina brahmakunaina says. Can anybody know his true divinity? Even the yogis have failed. Even Brahman doesn't understand who he is like that. Brahma, not Brahman. Brahma doesn't understand who he is. So that is the yogi Krishna is. So he says that by Maya Shakti, and we know in Aitariya Upanishad how Brahman was there and there was nobody to know. And then he thinks, let me create. And then he creates things, becomes Ishvara. And from there he creates, Maya Shakti comes into picture. Then comes the creation, he becomes the Hiranyagarbha. Then comes Virata, and from there comes the Jivatma. So the process that Aitariya Upanishad says so. So he created himself out of himself. He is the, for creating anything else, what do we require? We require a person, an instrument of creation, and the material to create. A potter wants to make a clay pot. He has to get clay, he has to get a wheel, and he has to get he has to use his hand to do it. So we have upadana karana, nimitta karana, we call it, the doer, who is the instrument, and the material. But here Krishna says, I have created out of my own Maya Shakti, my own self I have created out of myself. Yatha urnana visrite grinatecha, like the spider that creates the web out of its own self, lives in it, swallows it, and moves on to the next place. Mundaka Upanishad. That is how Krishna has created himself out of himself through the Maya Shakti. And now he appears to be a man with a flute, running behind gopikas, chasing cows. But he's beyond that. That's what he's trying to tell. That's a beautiful. And then he says, why do I come to this? Why do I do this? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyam. Whenever the righteousness is in decline and unrighteousness is increasing, in order to set the balance right, I manifest again and again. Yuga, yuge, again and again I come back to set right the equilibrium of right and wrong in this world. Dharma samsthapanarthaya, to establish dharma, to establish peace, harmony, love in the society, I must manifest myself again and again. Sambhavami yuge. So he says, this is why I come here again and again. Not one yuga, 2 yugas. Every yuga I come whenever there is discipline is lost and people are losing their moral rectitude and they are going the evil ways. I come to establish dharma. Sometimes I punish the evil, but today where do I punish the evil? Tell me. Everybody is bit evil, bit good. So today all that is within ourselves only. So what is the dharma? Krishna is asking. Atma dharma, swadharma. You are divine. To teach you that you are divine, I am here. It's no more about kill those evil doers and save the good ones. It is simply to establish that you are divine. Believe that you are divine. That is the ultimate dharma that Krishna has come to establish. So this is how he says, and then he says, so now before this Arjuna asked the next doubt. Oh, so you are also born again and again. You also have some karmas like me. Krishna says, before he asks, he says, Janma karmam cha me divyam. My dharma and karma is all divine. I am not bound by your karma and karma cycles. I manifest out of my own will. You have no choice. Karma bhir jayate tatra tatra, said Mundaka Upanishad. Because of our karmas of the past, we are born again and again in certain places to certain people. We have no choice. We are dragged into the wombs and dragged out of the bodies by Yama. But here Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. My actions and my birth is divine. And evam yo veti tatvata, the one who understands this truth of mine, tyaktva deham punarjanmam naiti mameti sorjuna, the one who understands this truth who I am, once he gives up the body, that is after finishing the worldly duties, is not born again. How do you know Krishna? How do you know God? You be God, then only you know God. God is not an experiment, it's an experience. You must know God by being God. So what he says, if you really know who I am, why my birth has happened, what my actions are all about, it means you have become me. Only because you have become me, you know me. And the one who becomes me has no birth again. So this is the idea, very important shlokas. And then he says, then there are many shlokas, but I'll take a few of them from here, which I think might be important. He says that people do all kinds of jnana, tapa and everything to purify themselves so that they attain me. All the actions are to be to purify. Chittasya shuddhaye karma. All our actions should purify our mind. Any action that is taking us to impurity or taking us away from the divine goal, this is not a good action. We must shun it. That is adharma. Dharma samsthapana means teach people to do the right things, will take you to their divine self. And also Krishna says very beautifully in the 11th shloka, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Those who want to worship me or surrender to me in their own, whichever way, I respond to them accordingly. You are my father, yes. You are my mother, yes. You are my friend, yes. You are my guru, yes. Whatever you think I am, I become that. You are my enemy, yes too. Ravana Rama became the enemy. So, whichever way you think of me, I respond like that. Krishna tells Arjuna, you think of me as a guru, now I am responding to you as a guru. You think of me as a friend, I will respond to you as a friend. So God is just reflection, reaction, resound. Whatever we think of him, he becomes that for us. So there is no particular shape, name, attributes, form and rules and regulations for God. He is the most flexible, most easy, convenient thing on earth. It fits into whatever vessel you put him into and take the shape and size, like water. So beautiful, our concept of God. See, all other, I'm not praising or ridiculing philosophies, but many philosophies are so rigid about who God is and how we should respond. How we should not respond, also, they have made a rule. See, even if God says, no, I want to respond, no, 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 our rules don't permit. If you want to be worshipped by us, you better follow our rules. But Sanatana Dharma, nothing doing. God is flexible. He is Nirakara on one side, Sakara on the other side. He is father on one side, he can be son on the other side. He can be a friend on one side, he can be an enemy on the other side. In whichever way you worship him and surrender to him, he will respond to you like that. How beautiful this Sanatana Dharma is. It gives you the flexibility to worship God as you think you like, as you feel like. Nobody tells you this is the only way and that is not the way at all. Anybody who says like that, he is blasphemous according to Sanatana Dharma. You must allow the flexibility. That is the beauty of this Sanatana Dharma. And he says that all beings come to me only ultimately by following different paths. And I respond to them in their own way. And he says that all these beings worship God, demigods, semi-gods we worship. They do the blessing and they give them what they require. But ultimately, if somebody worships Krishna, what do they get? They'll get Krishna himself. Why? Because Krishna is equal to Krishna. Satyabhama's Tulabaram. When she weighs Krishna in gold, she can't weigh Krishna because how much ever gold she puts, Krishna seems to be heavier. Though he's such a slender, lean fellow, but he's not. The gold is not able to overweigh him. So finally, one tulsi leaf, Rukmani puts with the name Krishna on it, and it weighs equal. So if you worship Krishna, you will get Krishna. And that is the idea. You worship all the other gods, Kankshata, Karmanam, Siddhim, Yajantaiha Devata. For the sake of various desires, people worship various gods. We all know. Examination time, most popular god, Ganesha. Everybody goes to Ganesha. Suddenly he becomes so popular. All through the year, one side, Ganesha, examination time, other side. So people worship all kinds of God. Akshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Through actions like these, by offering prayers to God and seeking blessings, people attain successes and things like that. They do various actions. Another very important concept of Sanatana Dharma is getting introduced in 13th shloka, which says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram vimam vidhaya kartaram avyayam. I have created the 4 limbs of the society. I will not call it categories, I won't call it classes, because that's the most controversial issue in the Hindu Dharma. That you have Brahmins and you have Shudras and things like that. But Krishna says, I created these 4 limbs of society. I'm not calling it classes or categories, higher or lower. They're simply 4 limbs. There are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. You know what they are. Brahmanas are the intellectual class, Kshatriyas are the warrior, the ruler class, Vaishyas are the business and tradesmen, and Shudras are the worker class, labor force. All of them have been created by me, based on guna, he says, not based on birth, based on their interests and aptitudes. In our scriptures, we have seen Valmiki was born a hunter, Shudra, so to say, but he became a jnani, a rishi, so much so that he wrote Ramayana, and we all read that Ramayana. Vishwamitra was born a king, Kshatriya, Kaushika, and went to become Vishwamitra, one of the greatest sages, Brahma Rishi. Even Vedavyasa was born to a fisherwoman's mother, but he went on to write all the Vedas and classify, and we all chant the Vedas. So where is this whole idea of categorizing people into higher and lower classes is a modern idea. But caste was never a word in our system at all. Varna was the word. But Varna means different types. Types does not mean superior and inferior. Types means a type. A rose is a rose and a lotus is a lotus. So how do I classify roses better than lotus? Everything has its own place in the creation. That's why Purush Suktam says, Brahmanasya mukhamasid, Brahu Rajanya Krita, Uru Tadasyadyaishyaha, Padhyam Shudro Jayata. From the same Purusha, the Virata Purusha of Aitreya Upanishad. From the face came the Brahmins, the intellectual class. From the hands came the Kshatriya, the warrior class. From the belly came the Vaishyas, the tradesmen. And from the feet came the labor force, Shudras. But all are limbs of the same body. Can you give me your legs away because your legs are inferior to your head? No, all are part of you. Therefore, everybody is equally important in our society, and we must respect this classification. At the same time, not differentiate or discriminate between them. That is very, very important from the point of Krishna. And he says, I am the doer of all these things, though I am the doer of none. I don't do anything, yet I am the one who has created this various limbs of the society. for the society to grow and thrive. And what is the purpose of society? We all live together in harmony, help each other to grow towards God. I to we to he. I is individual, we is society, he is divinity. So this method I have created, Krishna says. Yet I am not the doer of any of these things. I am not the doer, he says. And very beautifully he says, Namam karmani limpati, name karma phale spraha, iti mam yobi janati, karma bir nasa badhyate. Neither I have desires for any action, nor any actions bind me. The one who knows this principle, he is never bound. I don't desire for anything, nor I have desire any actions, results or anything that I desire for. I have no such things. So I am not affected by any of these things. I am never bound. So you will say, you build the hospital, tomorrow if the child becomes all right, are you going to get punya? No. If something goes wrong, are you going to get papa? No. Both I don't attribute to myself. But unfortunately, the fools do both. If something good happens, they'll attribute to themselves, they get excited. And something goes wrong, they'll find some scapegoat around. Because of you. And some even weak-minded people, they blame themselves and suffer all life. I tell you, you must be very, very clear about action alone you can do. Results are not your problem. Actions you do perfectly. Yoga, karmasu, kaushalam. Do perfectly to the best of your ability, but don't develop desires for results. That will trouble you. And then you will suffer like this. So he says very clearly, I am not bound by all these desires. I may order 100 hospitals to be built. In those hospitals, thousands will be saved, a few may die also. Neither those who were saved nor those who suffer are attributed to me. I am very clear. Why? Because I am not bound by any action. I will do what is required. Yadayat kartum ayati tat kritva tishtati sukham. This is Ashtavakra says. Pravruttava nivruttava daiva dhirasya durgraha. To engage in action or to withdraw is not a problem for a dhira, the wise one. Whatever comes his way, he does it. Another beautiful example he says, like Shipta samskara vatena cheshtate shushka parnavat, like a dry leaf floating in the wind. It appears to be going on its own, but it is not going on its own. Whatever samskaras are there, they are taking it. Today I was watching, the ocean is there, no? The waves will come, they'll bring a dry twig, it will come floating till the shore, and then it will go back along with the wave. It looks like the twig is going up and down, but it's not doing anything. The waves are bringing him close to the shore and bringing it and taking it back. Appears that it is doing something, it's not doing anything. Likewise, I appear to be doing everything physically, mentally, but inside I am like not doer nor enjoyer. Ashtavakra tells Janaka, Dharma, adharma, sukha, dukkham, manasani nate vibho, na kartasi na bhoktasi, mukta evasi sarvada. This idea of dharma, adharma, right, wrong, and good and happy and bad, sad experiences born out of good and bad actions. None of this is you. This is all in your mind. Na kartasi, you are not the doer, na bhoktasi, you are not the enjoyer. So who are you? Mukta evasi sarvada. You are the free soul, self. You're neither the doer nor the enjoyer. This is not just karma yoga. This is jnana karma. With the wisdom, who you are. You are not the doer, you are not the enjoyer. You are the ever free self. That is the idea. And same thing our Ishvara says. 100 years you can live like this. Kurvanneveha karmani jijishe shatagum samaha evam tvayi nanyate tosti na karma lipyate nare. If you live with this attitude, 100 years you live and work, no action will bind you. If actions don't bind you, then no birth and death and no more actions. So you are all bound by this. Why Jnana Karma Sanyasa Yoga is important? Because this wisdom alone can give us the right attitude to do the action. Otherwise, very difficult. So till now the action was do it perfectly, do it well. Don't desire for the results. Don't be affected by the results. Now we are saying who is the doer, who is the enjoyer. This is why it is Jnana Karma Sanyasa Yoga. This karma detachment, dispassion is born out of the wisdom, Jnana. That is the beauty of this particular chapter. So you have to understand the depth of what is being told over here. And I'll keep a few. Okay, he says this is how people were learning. The mumukshus, those who desired liberation, they worked like this. And what is our true goal of life? Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Everything that we do is to liberate ourselves. It should not bind us. It should free us. Actions bind and free. So how do we perform action depends on that. So this is how you perform action. From the ancient times, those who wanted liberation, they all performed actions with this knowledge. But they are not the doers, they are not the enjoyers. Then everything falls into its place.